What if the greatest disaster in human history wasn't a myth? What if the Great Flood, as described in the Bible, left behind real, tangible evidence clues scattered across the entire world, waiting to be found? This isn't just a story for Sunday school. It's a question that scientists, historians, and archaeologists are still grappling with today. The evidence might surprise you. Let's start with a simple fact. The story of a great, world-altering flood isn't unique to the Bible. In fact, it's one of the most universal stories in human history. Ancient civilizations from Mesopotamia, China, India, the Americas, and even Australian Aboriginal cultures all recorded devastating floods in their earliest histories. We're talking about hundreds of different flood legends from every corner of the globe. Different languages, different cultures, different continents. Yet the core story remains strikingly similar. Humanity is warned. A massive flood wipes out almost everything, and a small group of survivors repopulates the earth. Is it possible they were all recording the same global event? The similarities become even more undeniable when we look at ancient written records. Long before the Hebrew scriptures were compiled, the Epic of Gilgamesh from ancient Mesopotamia told the story of a great flood sent by the gods. It describes a chosen man instructed to build a massive boat to save his family and animals from a worldwide deluge. Sound familiar? These ancient records don't just echo the book of Genesis. They predate many of its written forms. This doesn't mean the Bible copied them. It suggests that the memory of this cataclysmic event was so profound, it was etched into the collective memory of early humanity. A shared history confirmed by multiple independent sources. But the evidence isn't just in ancient texts. It's literally written in stone, high up in the mountains. All over the world, from the Himalayas to the Andes to the Rocky Mountains, paleontologists have discovered marine fossils. We're talking about the fossilized remains of fish, seashells, and even vast coral reefs found thousands of feet above sea level, embedded in mountain rock layers. How did they get there? The standard explanation involves slow geological processes over millions of years. But another, simpler explanation fits the evidence perfectly. These mountains were once completely underwater. A global flood would provide a direct mechanism for depositing marine life across the continents, even on the highest peaks. The evidence trail leads us from the mountains right down to our own DNA. Modern genetic studies have revealed that the human population experienced what is known as a population bottleneck in the distant past. This is a moment in history when our numbers were reduced so dramatically that it left a permanent mark on our genetic diversity. The science is complex, but the conclusion is simple. At some point, the human race was on the brink of extinction. The Bible describes this exact event. It says that the entire human population was reduced to just 8 people who survived the flood aboard the ark: Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. The genetic data aligns with a scenario where a small group of people repopulated the entire planet. And what about the ark itself? Was it just a primitive wooden box? Not at all. The dimensions given in the book of Genesis, 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, result in a length-to-width ratio of 6:1. Modern naval architects and shipbuilders have discovered that this is the optimal ratio for stability in rough seas. An ark built with these dimensions wouldn't be designed for speed or maneuverability. It would be designed for one thing and one thing only: survival. It was a massive, incredibly stable vessel, engineered to withstand the most violent waters imaginable. It was a survival vessel, exactly as the Bible describes. So, why does any of this matter today? Because if the flood was a real historical event, it changes how we view the world and our place in it. The flood wasn't just an act of judgment. It was also an act of mercy and a new beginning. It was a warning about the consequences of turning away from our Creator, but it was also a promise of redemption. The rainbow that appeared after the waters receded wasn't just a pretty natural phenomenon. It was a covenant, a symbol of God's promise to never again destroy the world with water. It was a sign of faithfulness. If the evidence for a global flood is this compelling, it raises a crucial question. What else in the Bible might be true? If an event this monumental, this seemingly impossible, has historical and scientific support, perhaps it's time to look at the rest of its claims with fresh eyes. What do you think? Do you believe the Great Flood was a historical event, or is it purely a symbolic story? Let's discuss it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you found this thought-provoking, be sure to subscribe for more.